Why are some jurisdictions across the country letting people go out early?
I think people need to have the strength and the will to keep people in jail and say this person's a danger to the community. If someone has burglarized a bunch of homes, such as the person in Pleasantville, we need to keep that person in jail. We can't keep giving them easy plea bargains. We can't allow them to keep preying on the community. The cost in terms of emotional cost, financial, and sometimes physical is too high.
What is it that, what else, we only have like about a minute left, so, but don't freak out, don't stress out. Is there anything else that we should know before we start getting calls after the first break? Something important? Well, first of all, maybe you should tell us about your website. How do
Sure.
people reach you? Aren't you doing a fundraiser this week?
We are.
Too?
My website is electdanschorr.com, and my last name is spelled Schorr. People can also call my campaign at 513-3745. And I want people to know that I'm a very accessible person, and I want to hear from them both on your show and after about the concerns that they have. If they have a concern about law enforcement or a question about my campaign, or they just want to get involved, they should email or call, and I'd be happy to talk with them or meet with them. It's really important that the DA and DA candidates really talk to the community and hear their concerns, and I want to do that.
Terrific. Well, we are coming to that hard break in less than a minute's time. We'll be, when you come back, and we hope that you do, we'll be speaking with Dan Schorr, who we're speaking with right now. He's running for district attorney in Westchester County. We ask you to consider reading the Yonkers Tribune online website as well as the Westchester Herald. They're both online this week. In fact, you've got an article in there, which is really exciting. And it's just one way of reaching out to the public. And then when we come back, give us a call at 914-636-0110. We have a lot to talk about. We'll be right back.
1460 WVOX.
Now on 1460 WVOX, back to the inside stories from Yonkers and across Westchester. This is On the Level with Hezi Aris, the publisher and editor of the Westchester Herald and the Yonkers Tribune. Once again, here's Hezi Aris.
Thank you, John Harper, for that great introduction. We're speaking today with Dan Schorr in our studios. He's running for Westchester County District Attorney, and we're taking your calls at 914-636-0110. One thing that I found interesting that you mentioned last time is that you had gone to China for about a year's time.
Right.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you learned there and what you were teaching there.
In 2005, I went to China through the State Department. They had a grant program for American lawyers to teach Chinese judges and lawyers and law students about the American due process system, legal reform. China is a very different system than ours. It's a closed system where if you're arrested, you don't have an open trial. You don't always have the right to confront the evidence against you. If you speak out against the government, you could be arrested and even executed summarily. And some people in that system are trying to reform. And through the State Department, I was able to teach some of the younger judges and lawyers about due process that we have here, and hopefully one day it will start to be implemented in China. In June, it will be the 20th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre, where students stood up to challenge the government and say that they wanted democracy.
Yeah.
Remember, they built a model of the Statue of Liberty, and they said they wanted the right to vote in elections, choose their leaders. And unfortunately, many of them died. They were rolled over with tanks. They were shot, and they still don't have the rights that we have here. But I'm conscious of that every day when I'm running for office, that I'm lucky enough to be in a country where if I disagree with how the government's being run or the DA's office, that I could stand up and put myself out there for election. And these students 20 years ago died in China for the same kind of right, and hopefully one day they'll have it. But it was a real interesting experience to be over there and to be a part of the system there for a year.
Terrific. It certainly is. Chris says that we've got a call for you. So good morning, caller. Thanks for waiting. Dan Schorr's on the line.
Good morning, Dan. How are you?
Good morning. Very good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. This is Ed from North Salem, New York. How are you?
Very good.
Terrific. Dan, I'd like to be able just to talk a little bit about the issue of criminal illegal alien activity in Westchester County and how your role as district attorney, if you are elected, will change the way the county is currently dealing with a very large and unfortunately growing criminal illegal alien population. Now, I know one of the goals of immigration and customs enforcement is to identify and remove all aliens convicted of a crime. But you could make an argument that the towns of Portchester and Peekskill and White Plains and Mount Kisco are really following a sanctuary policy whereby individuals who are arrested in those particular jurisdictions, they're not being reported to ICE. And I'm just wondering if you could perhaps comment specific to your plans in being able to deal with this issue.
Absolutely, Ed. That's a great question. The DA's office has a very important role with illegal immigration. It's not the type of role where we're going to go out into people's homes and look for illegal immigrants, but what the DA's office needs to do is that when a crime is committed by someone who is here illegally, that we need to work with the federal government to make sure they are removed from the country. And we need to coordinate with the federal government by saying this person was just arrested for, let's say, assault. They're here illegally, and we don't want them back on the streets. It also should be a part of the bail argument. The person who is an illegal immigrant here should be deemed a flight risk. They're not a stable resident of the community, and they should not be just released. We've seen many crimes committed by people who are here illegally, and I've seen recently some of them then released back into the community. And definitely the DA's office needs to be a part of ending that. You need more coordination with the federal government. And right now the DA's office on a lot of matters is not working closely with the federal government, but I'd like to change that.
Is that something that you can promote from the district attorney's perspective, or does that need to come from up high from the federal government?
Well, the federal government needs to get information from the DA's office. The DA's office is closest to the community. And if there is a defendant in a criminal case or someone arrested who is an illegal immigrant and they're committing a crime here, then we need to make sure that person, first of all, is not free in the community, that they're kept in jail. And we need to hand custody of that person over to the federal government to get them to remove that person from the country if they're not going to remain incarcerated here. So the DA's office has a big role in that.
Well, the district attorney is looked upon as like the ultimate enforcement agency, because it is. But yet at the same time, you hear people talking about, they don't respect the office as much as one would hope. I don't know if one should hope for that to be the case, unless it deserves to be respected. But there's a lot of question of like so many loopholes in the law. People get away with murder. You hear all kinds of things like that. How do you respond to the disgruntlement that is heard?
Right,
is it legitimate?
There's not the respect of the DA's office in Westchester that there used to be and that there should be. There needs to be more teeth in the DA's office. People need to feel that if someone commits a violent crime against them, or sometimes even a nonviolent crime, that the DA's office, if necessary, will prosecute that person and will convict that person and will put that person in jail, and that they won't just see that person walking around their neighborhood a week or two later because they got probation. I've talked to police officers many times about this. They feel, we work to arrest people and then we just see them on the street again and again and again. And people need to feel the DA's office will do their part. The police are already doing their job. We have amazing police officers in Yonkers, in the county police, all around this county, and they're doing their job. They're risking their lives. They're arresting dangerous people, and the DA's office is not doing their job. The DA's office should be following through in an efficient, effective manner and taking the tough stands, taking cases to trial. We have an office now that's very timid to try cases. One of the reasons, I believe, is that the DA herself doesn't have trial experience on her own. She was a judge for a while, and she never supervised the trial of a case. And I don't know any other judge who sat in a criminal court who that's true of. She would either work out a plea bargain or send it to another judge for trial. Before that, she was a prosecutor, and she tried little, if any, cases as a prosecutor also. You really need to have the trial experience to run an office of trial attorneys. There are 120 prosecutors, and in order to have a tough, trial-minded office that's going to take tough stands, you need to have that experience.